When I was a child, I played Spider-Man a lot. I can't even imagine how many times I must have replayed the whole campaign start to end, and that's considering the version I had was with a pretty nonsensical unofficial translation. But hey, in Eastern Europe of those times, skull and crossbone providers were sometimes the only way to play games, so it is what it is. For what it's worth, I still enjoyed the hell out of it. And I still enjoy Spider-Man now! Yeah, it's a bit clunky. Yeah, it doesn't have the narrative and moral depth I'd prefer in a Spider-Man adaptation. And let's face it, those symbiote enemies are very annoying despite making sense on a foundational level. But as a whole, Spider-Man is just pure, simple fun, and there's really nothing wrong with that. More than that, it seems the game was created with true love towards the source material, which imbues it with a certain energy that one can't help but feel when playing. Just an all-around good time. One thing I like doing also just for some good time is rating games with my personal scoring system I call Stasocritic. It's divided into 5 different categories of various weights, each with a score from 0 to 10 that have their own specific criteria. The first category is design. It has a weight of 4 as how a game is structured and played defines your experience the most. I will assign a 7 to Spider-Man. The foundation set up for Spider-Man's core moveset is great, and levels never get old. Every 5-10 minutes we're doing something new, so variety is not an issue. That being said, there are 1-2 main implementation flaws for my liking. Bosses can be very annoying if one doesn't utilize cheese tactics, manual aiming can be tricky, and with auto-aim, Spider-Man often shoots webs where we don't want to. While the game tries to adapt, the lack of camera controls is still felt throughout. It's not perfect, but with some additional time and polish, it totally could be. The issues are not deep-rooted. Then we have emotions, a category with a weight of 3, which is pretty important still since our personal feelings matter a lot for the overall enjoyment. I will assign a 9. I guess this part is pretty self-explanatory. I had lots of great fun time with Spider-Man, regardless of some annoyances there and there, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to revisit this title for a bit every now and then in the future. There's just something warm about it. The next category is cohesion. It has a weight of 2 and focuses on how well all facets of a game are combined together into a singular, cohesive experience. I will assign a 7. Spider-Man does a lot of smart things, from utilizing a special fog in storytelling for explaining the PlayStation 1 technical limitations, to creating a toolkit for Spider-Man that really feels like it belongs to the character. There's even some nice little details like Venom avoiding spider sense. And just in general, the game is chock full of Spider-Man references and involves a bunch of people related to the character. But as fun as that is, that's also part of the reason why I can't assign a higher score to cohesion. It's a mishmash of stuff, some of which isn't even important to the larger plot at hand, like Scorpion attacking Jameson. And sure, the game itself lampshades stuff like this, but still. The last criticism is closely connected to the context category, which is all about narrative, characters, story arcs, and so on. It might sound surprising given what I said previously, but I will assign a 7. The overall plot is basic, but sensible. Spider-Man gets framed, he tries to figure out what's going on, and on the way discovers that there's a plan to take over the world using symbiotes, which Spider-Man thwarts together with his allies. But what makes it really work is the writing. It's so campy that one can't help but be charmed by it. Everyone oozes personality, with Venom definitely being a favorite of mine here, and transforms the narrative experience into a sum bigger than its parts. Which brings us to the final category, aesthetics. That's naturally about visuals, sound, music, and so on. I will assign an 8. The overall visual style is very striking and colorful, which fits the comic book aesthetics. The voice acting is great, and the music is incredibly catchy. While there is a certain lack of polish in certain parts, like some voice lines playing more often than they should, faces tending to look weird in the original PlayStation 1 version, overall those aren't that big of a deal. A bigger problem though is that the majority of the game's second half takes place in sewers, basements, and sterile underground facilities. While of course there is nothing inherently wrong with those types of environments, they're used so much that it gets a bit drab and repetitive, sewers in particular, a regrettable blemish on an otherwise stylish game. Now, when all these scores are taken together, we get a final Stasocratic rating of 76, which in the context of my system means that this is a very good, solid title. I'd obviously recommend Spider-Man to Spider-Man fans, and just those who like pretty short and linear but very fast-paced and varied action-adventure experiences. Again, while perhaps this is not the most perfect game out there, it's just a lot of fun. And every now and then we all need some simple enjoyment in our lives.